Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am waking up at the Harvest Host here in Blackfoot, Idaho. I stayed at the Potato Museum. This was a cool experience. It was a nice way to have an attraction but also have a place to sleep. There are a few things I will say about my very first encounter at a Harvest Host. However, I kind of was prepared for this. Let me explain. As I'm getting my van ready, you might see there's a train coming. That train runs through here periodically and attaches to other trains. And, well, you can see how that works out. So you can only imagine that was interesting in the night. Now, whenever I decided to sign up for Harvest Host, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to have places that I could stay that were unique. I didn't want to just take advantage of just farms and things like that, although that is an option with Harvest Host. I pay a one-time annual fee and it allows me access to breweries and museums and drive-ins and farms, and I could camp there. And the stipulation for camping there is that they do kind of have an underlying expectation that you spend some money. Normally it's between $20 and $30 depending on the host, but it gives you a way to do something kind of neat. And so I thought, I don't need a whole lot of extra things. And so I don't want to go to places that only offer items. I need to go to places that offer experiences. And so I was looking into how many different experience-based locations that there are, and there's so many. And so I was like, let's try this out. So I spent like $80, and in doing so, it gave me access to places like this. Now you're probably thinking, well, you still had to pay admission. How is that a deal? It definitely is a deal, because in this particular area, it gave me a place that I could stay that's unique, a place that's different. And then I could go straight to the museum and have all the things that I need there. And it was really, really cool. So I am a big, so far, fan. However, with that, just like I just showed you, not all Harvest Hosts are going to be in super remote areas. If it's a business, it may be in a more populated area. So then it's up to the host to tell you about the property itself. And the host gave me these instructions whenever I arrived, as soon as they accepted that I could stay here. And you can see very clearly it tells you where to park, where the dogs can go to the bathroom if I had a dog. It also tells you about some of the different things in the area. And I think that's pretty excellent. It's kind of like having your own little special space that you can go and stay, and it's in the middle of the city here, so I have access to a lot of things, which is pretty cool. With that train came by at like 3 a.m. and then it came by at like 7 a.m. this morning, and then it just came by again. So it's almost 10 o'clock. I kind of lingered a little bit here because I needed to do some business. I had to be out by noon, so I just kind of stayed in my own space. In order to do Harvest Host, you must be fully contained. You can't be draining anything outside. You can't pop out a camp kitchen. You can't put a chair outside. It has to all be done in your space, which is why I set up my kitchen the way that I did for this set of adventures, because I wanted to have access to being able to do that. The train's coming again. Apparently it's a lot more active during the day than it is at night, because at nighttime it just went on by and it didn't blow its horn but once. And that was way, way, way before it got to town. So it wasn't that big of a deal. With that said though, today's gonna be exciting. And now that I've told you a little bit about Harvest Host, we'll be finding some more of these along the road in different places. I have one specifically that I'm definitely staying at when I go to Arkansas. But until then, we're gonna do something else that has been highly recommended to me. I'm gonna go eat a baked potato here in Idaho, just over there actually. I don't know which way I'm going. Is it raining? Is it snowing? It's off of Willy Wonka. I don't know if that's a real song, but we're gonna make it into our song of the day, I think. I don't know if it's gonna be on Apple Music though, so I'll have to look. Thank you so much, Potato Museum, for being epic. Also, fun fact, the Potato Museum used to be the train depot, which makes total sense as to why the train still runs by it. And I learned inside the Potato Museum that because of the train, they were able to have more potatoes all over the country. And that's what ultimately made Idaho work with the potato. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's amazing to see how when you go to like a mining town, they talk about like the trains and why they had certain things, but you didn't think like out loud most of the time about the crops and how they would position things strategically for that as well. And so Idaho would have never been Idaho without the train. I mean, it would have been Idaho, but not the potato capital of the United States, you know? So I think that's pretty cool. Bye-bye, train. Nice to see ya. But I need to get over these tracks and ride across the road. Ooh, there it is, there it is. You know, since we always talk about the day in the life stuff and all the weird stuff that I do along the way, I thought taking you guys along for today would definitely be something fun, because it is just a little bit different. At the same time, perfectly fine. Oh, this is cool. They have like drive-in things, but I kind of want to go inside to eat. Can I go inside? We're gonna try. We're gonna try. I don't know if this is how this is gonna work or not, but we're gonna try. Yes, we can. Guys, I am so excited about this. That price is excellent. The food is going to be so good. And I had this recommended again from Ernie and Brandy, so I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, here it is, guys. This looks so good. This is perfect. So that definitely was good. Highly recommend. And again, thank you to Ernie and Brandy for making that suggestion, because that is exactly what I needed to start my day today. But now I gotta find my keys. I can't go anywhere without them. It always amazes me how something so bulky I can lose somehow in the smallest bag ever. Okay, so now that I got that taken care of, now I get to go pick up my package. Package day, package day. We get to fix our power problem with package day. I had everything shipped to an Amazon Dropbox at a grocery store. And so it's close to the highway, which I then will have to hop onto to get to my next destination. So I think I've planned my morning strategically enough where I'm not like doubling back. Okay, so I made it to the store and I'm supposed to go inside and find the Amazon lockers. So for anyone who is interested in shipping things to yourself on the road, Amazon has lockers kind of throughout the country that you can ship things to. And sometimes it's at stores, sometimes it's at random places. And so today we're at a market here in Blackfoot. After I find the lockers, I have 2 barcodes to scan because they divide them up, and then you scan it and that opens the door. Or if they're behind the counter, they scan them to acknowledge that you're the right person. Okay, so I went inside. They told me that they're outside and on this side. So here we go. There they are. So that is the one downside, is that you don't necessarily know where they are. It just tells you an address and then you kind of have to figure it out. So I personally just always go inside the store, ask, and if I don't happen to pass it on the way to ask, then they usually point me in the right direction. I've seen them at the back of stores, I've seen them at the front of stores, I've seen them outside, but it is really convenient. So I'm gonna get to scanning, we'll pick up the packages, and then we'll go back to the van. Just before I do, this is kind of how it works. It walks you through a series of prompts. You type in some things or you scan down here, and then one of these doors opens based on the size of the package. Everything obviously can't go because these are the larger ones. So if it can't fit in there, then they may not be able to ship it that way. Okay, so got all my packages, and now I just close the locker. And then down here, I just wait to make sure that it says thank you, and we're good to go. I'm assuming they split my order because it came from different distribution points. That's the only thing that makes sense, because this is all very small. It could have fit in one. You never know with Amazon. Okay, it's already pretty warm today. It's already 81 in the van, and I was only away from the van for just a couple seconds there. So let's get to opening. I think package 1. Okay, this is all the barrel connectors that I needed. So this should be the adapter for the solar panel. And sometimes these packages are harder. Yep, sure is. Okay, so now I can add more waste to the world. Yay. But I think that this will work for charging the power station that I've been having some issues with from the solar when I'm away from the van, which is good. And then this has every single connector that I could need, except for an Anderson plug on it. Okay, so on this side, I have just the regular standard barrel, and then these two go into the solar panel, and then it came with these barrel connectors also, which that yellow one looks like the Jackery, but if it's like my others, it's not. Truly can never have too many barrel connectors, just because every power station seems to use a different one, and so just having some spares is nice. So I'll put all of these into my little setup in a little bit. I'm going to check the power real quick to see if anything does need to be charged. I have my series charging going where the Jackery is charging off of the back DC port. I have the front DC port is charging the Vatid, which realistically doesn't need much more. So by the time I get to my destination, it'll be done. The Alpha ESS is charging off of the All Power, which is charging off of the roof. And I'm wanting to take away the fact that it has to charge off of another power station with these items. So, that said, whenever I move the Vatid off of the front, I'll put the Jackery up here and then we'll do all of this. But I'm going to try to get the Vatid charged up first, just because I haven't charged it in a few days. It's really fast. It's only 300 watts. And I'm already at 88%. I started off this journey at 70%, so it's already gained 18%. So that's pretty good. Considering I just went this morning from the parking lot up a block, stopped, and then drove through town and then came here, 18% is really, really good. So that one will be charged up in no time. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and set these things in the back so they're not flopping around in the front. And then we'll head on over to Idaho Falls for Adventure Day. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do something different though, because it's not pulling enough off of the roof to make up for the fact that that guy is eating all the power. Mind you, that guy is at 90%, so I may not have to do the most with it, but I do need to get them all topped off and just keep them that way, because on hot days, that means that the fridge and freezer are pulling twice as much. So I just have to work twice as hard to keep all the power here. We're here. Note to self, Idaho does not have a lot of crossovers. So in order to get to the place that I am, which is at a rest stop, it's called Hell's Half Acre. It's like a lava field. It's really cool. Check out the next video if you're interested in that. I just had to drive 7 miles north. Well, I think it's north. I'm going to say it's north in order to go back south, and maybe east to west. My directions are kind of off right now. Okay, I clearly need to do some work in this section at some point whenever I have a stop, because I'm kind of all twisted up again. But the Jackery is now plugged in up front. I went ahead and plugged in the All Power that's normally off of the solar into the back, so it can pull a little bit more and a little faster. A sunny and warm day, but I still haven't wiped down the panel. I've brushed it, which did help, but I'm still only pulling about 45 watts. I need to take like a damp Norwex to it and just clean it off really good. And so until then, I'm not getting my full capacity. So what I'm gonna do is when I'm away from the van, I'm gonna plug it in so it can keep charging. But when I'm driving, I'm gonna go ahead and use the DC port. And then whenever I get to whatever location that I'm at, I will eventually figure out how I'm gonna move the cords around for everything. So kind of an update there, but the tiny little Vatid is completely charged, so don't have to worry about that one anymore. Okay, in order to turn around this time, I only had to go 3 miles in this direction. That's better than 7. I don't understand why there are less crossovers and turnarounds and stuff here than in many other states, many other states. Back on the 15 toward Idaho Falls. Oh guys, I think I'm in a potato coma. Between that and my walk, I am now tired. I just want to take a nap. But it's too warm to do that in the van. Oh, what am I gonna do? I think though I did make some choices. I'm gonna go into this museum. Even if I spend a couple hours in here, it's still gonna be pretty early in the day because I got moving pretty well today. So I had a couple other things I wanted to do here, but I'm not sure if I love them now that I've kind of seen them. And so I'm like, I think they're a little smaller than what I was hoping for. I hate that expectation versus reality moment, you know? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go in the museum, and then I'm going to pack it up, and then I'm going to drive to our next destination, which is an hour and a half away. I know it sounds erratic, but I want to be able to start off tomorrow morning exploring there. So since I'll have plenty of time before it gets dark, that's a great way for me to just get there, and that way I don't have to do all the driving in the morning. In the meantime, I am next to the Museum of Idaho. So I'm going to give it like 10 more minutes of me sitting here, just allowing my body to be cool because it's so hot today. And then I'm going to go inside, and before I do, I'll change out the cord where it'll be coming off of the roof instead of the van, because the van won't be on. Okay, pulling in 72 watts right now. I just kind of cleaned off the panel a little bit more, so that's good. And I'm going to walk away. Okay, it's not as bad as it could have been. Cracking the windows is helping. I cracked the windows about this much so the air could kind of move through, and it did pull out a lot of the heat, because normally when I'm parked in sheer sun like this, it's like 120. Oh, which I know is only like a 12-degree swing, but come on. But every little bit counts. In the meantime, I was able to charge the one that came off of the top of the van, and it's up to 78% now, which is better than it was. I have the other one is at 99%, so I'm going to drive with it, charging for just a little bit, and then I'll probably unplug it, and then just let the other one just do its thing. That museum was great. I really had a good time in there. I like how they have special displays and stuff, and you'll definitely have to check out that video. It has some really fascinating things in there. I learned that there were interesting characters throughout history here in Idaho that I never would have expected. Also, I learned that there were some really cool like similarities to some other places that I'd been, and so I was able to kind of draw a conclusion there. And then they have this really neat cityscape down below that's all interactive and neat. So yeah, well worth it. It was like $20 for me to go to it because I'm a non-resident, but if you are a resident, it's cheaper, I think. So that was pretty neat. And I think I did go ahead and solidify that I will be going on to the Craters of the Moon, just driving there tonight and then getting a spot out at the BLM camping if I can find some. So $29.92, and now I'm gonna go inside just for a minute. Whew. Okay, so a few things. I'm gonna be driving for the next hour and a half. I'm tired. I'm super tired. I was going to get out the Road Pro, but I'm still using these ports because I'm trying to get everything topped off. So I don't want to take away from charging up my power, because let's face it, I need it a little bit more right now because of the heat, so that I can be able to run my fridge and stuff like that and my freezer. And those take priority over me having a hot meal in my Road Pro any day of the week. I could also run the Road Pro off of one of the power stations, but again, that depletes the battery. So until I get these to 100, I don't want to be pulling away from that power at this moment, just because I know that tomorrow I'm not going to be in the van as much driving. I am going to drive, but I'm not going to be driving the whole time because I am going to go to the Craters of the Moon. And from what I've seen, there's a lot of like walking involved with that. So that means I'll be away from the van. So even though I can charge off the solar, I want to make sure that if tomorrow's not a good solar day, I'm still in a good place. The one bad thing is the window's just going to look like this because the water up there was really not great. It happens like that sometimes. It is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So guys, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it is getting very smoky here. Like super smoky. I am currently using my Google map, so I can't look to see if there's any new fires. But it has started like blowing aggressively here, so the wind is definitely up. So if there is a fire, it's probably going to be moving pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm going to pull over, I think. I'm going to pull over the next time I get a chance to, because there's definitely a fire. Like, I can smell it coming through my vents. There is fire somewhere. So this is the thing. Whenever I looked earlier, it was smoky whenever I stopped off at the hiking trail that I went to, but this is getting incredibly smoky now to the point that I can smell it through the vents. Like, it started making me sneeze. It's that kind of like aggressive. Like, I smell it. I can't get my fire map to load though. Oh, I'm over halfway there. But this is getting more and more. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, I really want to go to Craters of the Moon. I need to figure out where the fire is. Because, like, the fact that it's just... There is fire somewhere. Okay, so my service here is not great. It's just not. I was able to pull up one article, and it said something about a fire near the BLM land of the Craters of the Moon. I tried to click on it to see where, and nothing loaded because my service isn't good. Here's the dilemma. This site that I'm going to is at the BLM next to Craters. It doesn't sound good, right? I don't know what to do. My best service was back this way, so I think what I'm going to do is drive backwards and see if I can't pull up more to find out information. Again, there are no signs saying, hey, the road's closed or anything like that. Also, though, I know that I'm going to be camping, and it's a little different to camp if there's fire. Okay, I was able to pull up a fire map, and I can't get a lot of information off of it because my signal is still not great. There are 3 fires going on currently in Idaho, and they are all kind of in a triangle of one another. They're kind of like dotting around Craters of the Moon. The BLM fire that I saw is not the same fire that is currently happening, so that's positive. At the same time, though, the wind is shifting a lot, and I looked at the range for which the smoke will travel, and also where the fire could travel, and the BLM at Craters of the Moon is still not out of the woods completely over the next 48 hours because of the containment. So yeah, that's different than it was this morning. I'm assuming it is because of the winds. They've really picked up. This morning, whenever I was out at the Hell's Half Acre, it was kind of windy. It wasn't as windy as it is right now. Just for context, driving down the highway right now, the speed limit on this road that I'm on is 70 miles per hour. I was hard pressed to do 60 without feeling like I was doing this. It was really, really bad. It was dragging the box super hard. So, with that, the wind is definitely much more gusty, we'll say. And it's kind of going this way and then also this way. So that's from the direction of those fires. You know, at some point you start to realize on the road that sometimes things just happen, and it is always better to be safe rather than sorry. And I check maps so frequently, especially when I'm going to be more removed from places. There's other things I can do in Idaho further away from those. I'm sad though. I'm super, super sad, but I know I'll be safe. So I guess what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go down to Pocatello, and I can stay there for the night and start some adventures there. I have a museum I want to go to tomorrow, I guess, in exchange. I was going to do that the next day, but it's okay. Yeah, so I'll just pivot. That's the nice thing about being on the road though, you can pivot. But for now, I'm just going to be doubling back. So remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. I'll update you on where I end up tomorrow, but just know that it will be in a safe place away from the fires.